Our first lesson in Unit 6 is about solving multi-step equations. This should be a review. I have the steps listed here. Step 1, you always want to get rid of the parentheses in a problem. Step 2, you want to combine like terms if you have anything on the same side that could be added together. Step 3 would be to get your numbers to be on one side and your letters to be on the other side by doing a wall and floor, which would mean you'd be adding or subtracting something. And then your very last step would be to divide or multiply whatever's with x so that you can get x alone. So when I look at example 1, I have a parenthesis, so that's the first step. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of that parenthesis by multiplying negative 5 times 4. So I'm going to bring down my 2x, and then negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. Equals 10. The next step says to combine like terms. We do not have that situation because we have an x and a number on the left side and then a number on the right side. So we move on to step 3, wall and floor. So here I'm going to do a wall and floor. I want the 2x to stay, but I want the 20 to be moved to the other side. So I'm going to add it. So now I have 2x equals 10 plus 20 is 30. Those 20s cancel. Last step is to divide or multiply. In this case, 2 and x are being multiplied, so I'll do the opposite, divide by 2. So x equals 30 divided by 2, it equals 15. Example 2, again, we want to get rid of parentheses. So I'll do this in a different color here. This here, because we have two terms in the parentheses, that means I'm going to be distributing the 8 to both parts. So I'll bring down my 12, and then I'm going to do 8 times x, which is 8x, and then 8 times 5, which is 40, and it equals 15x. So that would be your step 1. The next step is I want to combine any like terms. So on the left side, I have a 12 and a 40. Those could be added together, giving me 52. Bring my 8x down, equals 15x. My next step is the wall and floor. I want my numbers to be on one side and I want my letters to be on the other side. So I'm going to do a wall and floor, and because I have x on both sides, that means I'm going to subtract the 8x to bring it to the other side. Now I'm just left with a 52 on the left side, and then I do 15 minus 8, giving me 7x. And then my last step is to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide each side by what's with x, which is the 7. And 52 divided by 7 does not divide evenly, so I would leave my answer as that fraction, 52 over 7. All right, we're at the last couple examples here. So again, step 1, do the parentheses. So that means I'm going to be distributing 3 times 2y and 3 times negative 8. So first thing I want to do is bring down the 4y. And then I'm going to multiply 3 times 2, giving me 6y. And then 3 times negative 8, which is negative 24. Bring my equals and my 12 down. So step 1 is done. Step 2, I'm going to combine like terms. So I see that I have a 4y and a 6y, both on the left side. I can add those together, making it 10y. And then I'm going to bring my minus 24 down and my 12. So now the next step is to do a wall and floor to get your numbers to be on one side and your letters to be on the other. So since I have a number on the left and right, that's what I want to move. So I'm going to add 24 to both sides. That's going to get rid of the 24s on the left. So now I have 10y equals 12 plus 24 is 36. And I have one last step to do before I have a final answer, and that is to divide by whatever is with your variable. So I'm dividing by 10 on both sides, and this does not divide evenly, so you can leave it as 36 over 10. That would be one possible answer, or you can reduce your fraction, which would be 18 over 5, meaning they are divisible by 2 on top and bottom. Your calculator will do the reducing for you. Also, if you get a decimal answer, that would be fine as well. So again, with our steps. Step 1, parentheses. So in example 4, there's no parentheses. Step 2, I want to combine like terms. I have an x and a 10 on one side and an x and a 12 on the other side, so I cannot combine like terms. So this one's a little bit different. I want my numbers to be on one side and my letters to be on another side. So this example is, we call this a double wall and floor. So we're going to be repeating that step twice. I always like to have my letters be on the left side, so I'm going to take the negative 2x and I'm going to add it, and I want to make sure I put it underneath the other x value, that 14x. So 14 plus 2 is 16x. I'm going to bring down my 10. I haven't done anything with that yet. And then my negative 2 and positive 2 cancel, leaving me with negative 12. So again, we see that we have a letter and a number on the left side and just a number on the right side. That means that I'm going to do a second wall and floor. That's the reason I called it a double wall and floor. And I'm going to move the 10 by subtracting it. So I have 16x equals, and then negative 12 minus 10 is negative 22. And then my very last step would be to divide each side by what's with x. So I divide each side by 16. And that fraction also doesn't reduce to a whole number, so I'm going to say that x equals negative 22 over 16. Or you can reduce this one, which would be x equals negative 11 over 8. Again, a decimal answer would be fine as well. And that concludes lesson 1.